Hello, and welcome everyone. This is Lisa Turner from Psychademy. We're a spiritual and consciousness awakening organization, and we specialize in training professional coaches and practitioners. And in this series of Facebook Lives that I've been doing, I've been talking about this idea of conscious leadership. See, we are a social and we're actually quite a hierarchical species. Whenever there is chaos or uncertainty or like an environment where there are a lot of challenges and difficulties, people instinctively and unconsciously look around them for who is taking charge, who seems to know what's going on. Now, this happens both on an overt level. So they'll look to the person in charge with the uniform, wearing blue. They'll look for the person who has overt authority. But that's really the obvious thing. But what also happens is people unconsciously look for who is the real leader, who is the person who is steadfast and centered. And sometimes, the person in authority is actually, and this is what's happening right now. This is what's happening right now in society. Sometimes the person who is in overtly open authority, the politician, the government, the whatever, the person who's got the badge, if you like, sometimes that person, they're not the one with the real power. They're not the one that people are listening to. They're not the one that people are talking to. They're not the one that people are communicating with. If you've ever been involved in any kind of team, if you've been involved if you've ever worked in a company, right? And, there's the boss, and then there's the person who actually knows. Now, that is typically and very frequently not the person who's actually in charge. So what we've been talking about is that is the conscious leader. Now, that person may know that they're leading, and they may use that and to empower and to support the team, the people, but they might also abuse it. And we know that people abuse power. We know people abuse their overt authority. So over this last series, we've been talking about activating these qualities of our own leadership. And the quality that we're talking about today is actually a really, really important one, because the quality we're talking about today is truthful leader. This is the leading from the throat chakra of society. And where we are right now is we're in this place of where society, gosh, I really hope you can see me. If you can see me and hear me, let me know, pop a little post and say hi, who's here. I would love to know that. And I should have said that right at the beginning. I apologize. I forgot. So, hey, I'm human. So right now in society, we've talked about this model of the evolution of the species, or Project Theos. Theos stands for the evolution of the species. Theos also means God or divinity. And this is why I think we're right at this spiritual tipping point, because where we're at right now is that we're at this place of the throat chakra of society is overexpressed. And when that happens, you get lots of division, lots of separation, lots of arguments, lots of disagreements, lots of them and us. And you'll probably see that, I saw someone post about how people are being censored, people being, vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, men and women, and feminist and anti-feminist, and there's the Black Lives Matter and the All Lives Matter, or Nobody's Lives Matter, which is kind of what they're really saying when you say All Lives Matter. Anyway, that's going into another thing. So today is all about truthful leadership. And where we're at right now is we've got this real, there seems to be a lot of nonsense spoken about right now. A lot of people are talking stuff, and there is a lot of misinformation, and it's coming from a lot of places. So I'm being really careful not to influence you in anything. When I talk about vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, I have evidence that I look at, but I also look at, like one of the things about conspiracies is real conspiracies are right there. They're right there in plain sight, and they do exist, and they can be discovered and revealed. And this is where, because the thing about truth is where there's truth, there's always proof. if you know how to find it and you know how to look and you know how to listen and you know what questions to ask and you know how to listen to the answers. There's actually a whole series of fallacies that you can use. You can identify, oh, they've been misled by this misconstruction of information and they've been misled by that misconstruction of information. So I could talk all day about that. But so let's just talk about truthful leadership. So a truthful leader, this person has this is their power center that's activated. This leader speaks their truth and inspires through their words, whether it's spoken or written word. Their words are their tools. And if it's abused, they can be weapons. They can talk others into and out of almost anything, but their true power lies not only in their ability to communicate and express to others their message, but also in their ability to perceive the truth of another, even if it's hidden within the words uttered. They have this superpower of receiving and interpreting accurately subtle little nuances and the meaning from others that are often completely missed by many, many people. They really get what it means by reading between the lines, and they know what questions to ask, and they know how to listen to those answers. They're very, very rarely willing to accept anything as fact simply because somebody in authority says so. But likewise, they don't get carried away with like, oh, everyone's believing this, so it must be true. They have a truthful leader is very, very good at asking questions. They can subtly lead others even through their questioning. Truthful leader speaks truths that are hidden in plain sight, even if it can seem blasphemous at the time. They're the ones that are willing to ask questions. And I did a lot of training in shamanic studies and lots and lots of spiritual schools. And I was always the one that seemed to ask the really dumb question that turned out that is actually asking a series of really dumb questions led me to develop my signature process, conscious emotional transformation. And that's probably another story, but it was just through asking these questions about energy. Well, if we're all infinite, if the idea is that we all become one with source, how can anything damage us? If the idea is that we're all divine, how can we have negative emotions or negative energy? Just asking these questions led to me discovering something completely unique and powerful. So they're a beautiful orator. They're able to skillfully communicate. And I really hope, I was actually really not nervous, but it was like, I'm really aware I need to communicate this properly. But, the idea about power centers and these leadership qualities is we should be able to all access them to some extent. And everyone will have the one that they're best at, the one that they use most. So here are some of the qualities and characteristics. So they speak, others get them. They feel heard, and they're also able to just tune out the nonsense and the rubbish. They speak their truth eloquently, others hear it, and others are often moved by their message, like moved as in not only just emotionally, but they're moved to take action. They're exquisite communicators. They're able to listen and be heard. They can express themselves. They have very good listening skills, which means that they can discern what's really being said. They suspend judgment. So they're able to, they're able to come to a new piece of information or a new conversation with a new person without having I believe this and it's up to you to try and convince me otherwise, or I'm just going to wait till you stop speaking till I say my piece to try and convince you of others. They actually come in going, well, what if this person is right? What if this person is right? What are they saying? What are they really saying? What do I need to take from this? So they're able to really suspend judgment. They're naturally in tune with others without the need to speak or being told explicitly. They intuitively know what others are saying. They trust their own knowing, and they're open to new ideas. And I think that's one of the really key things about this is they are open to new ideas, and they're continually willing to question everything, including their own ideas. Look, what if what I think is true? What if that's not true? Okay, yeah, it still seems to be true. Because the thing is, where there's truth, there's proof, there's evidence. This person doesn't need a lot of reassurance because they kind of know. And any reassurance is like not just, oh, do you think it's okay? Do you think it's okay? Not like that. It's not a needy reassurance. It's like, okay, let me just double check this. Okay, got it. And they're creative and expressive, and they're able to integrate different ideas and come up with completely new concepts. It's actually how I came up with our signature process, conscious emotional transformation, by combining multiple ideas. Most likely to say something like, take from this what's useful to you. And can I just ask? A great example that I think of a truthful leader or a really powerful orator would be Martin Luther King. He was, with his "I Have a Dream" speech, but also Winston Churchill, really powerful speakers. So let me know, who do you think is a truthful leader? Who's got that powerful expression? Now, like any of these power centers, they can be overactive and they can be underactive. So let's look at the qualities of an overactive truthful leader. So overactive truthful leader, this is someone who is arrogant. They know it all. Don't listen. They're completely unable to listen to anyone else's point of view. They're closed to new ideas because they know what's right. So they're quite dogmatic. They just set about to prove everyone wrong and argue. And you'll notice that there's a lot of this out there. And I'm not saying this is any of you, but I just sit back and I watch and I go, wow, look at that person arguing with that person. Look at this group arguing with this group, and look at how they're arguing. So this person who's overactive truthful leader, completely closed to new ideas, rather than listening and considering whether or not a new idea has value, they'll just reject it. No, it's not what I believe. It's wrong. Even before they've discussed it or reviewed it, what I like Lewis Carroll saying in Alice, I think it was Through the Looking Glass, but I'm not sure, one of his Lewis Carroll's books, about Alice down the rabbit hole thing. And Alice says, believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. So open to new ideas, but the overactive, completely closed. Their beliefs, they don't hold them up to scrutiny, and they don't hold up to scrutiny. As soon as you scratch the surface, there's little mistakes, there's errors, there's nonsense, there's gibberish. If challenged or questioned, they become angry or aggressive or cruel, especially with their words. And rather than attacking, or rather than not attacking, that's not the right word necessarily, but rather than challenging the belief or the idea that's being presented, they will attack the person. That's where I needed to use that word. They often disagree just for its own sake. If you say it's black, they'll say it's white because, there's a little white bit up there. This leader talks, but they don't listen, which is why I would love for your feedback. I want to hear what you think of these power centers. How is it resonating? How's it landing? It's one of the things I don't like about Facebook Lives, because I can't see you and I can't hear your voice, because I always want to know what you guys think of this. So overactive, they're out of tune and out of sync with what's going on. And they become quite rambling and incoherent because they just talk and talk about nothing, and their ideas land on deaf ears. So if it's overactive, they're arrogant, dogmatic, self-righteous, they know it all, disagree for its own sake. They continually oppose other ideas just because they're not their own, just because they're different. They use words as weapons to hurt, criticize, and damage, and abuse and manipulate. They talk, and it's meaningless Twitter waffle. They're like sound with no meaning. It's tuneless gibberish. They become extreme and they become nonconformist just to prove that they're different and therefore a little bit special. They often gossip and tell tales, and this is the person who'll have the lovely private message with you talking a load of nonsense rather than coming out, because their message isn't for everyone. And it's a private message. So they use knowledge and information to manipulate and control. Most likely to say, I have a message for you and you need to listen to this. Like, have you ever had that psychic who said that to you? I've got a message for you and you need to listen. This is for you. So underactive. So the underactive truthful leader. This person is shy and timid. Sorry, I'm looking at my hair in my video. I look terrible. That's visionary leader. I'll get that next week. So underactive truthful leader. They're timid, they're shy, they're terrified about speaking out. They rarely speak up. And if they do, no one hears them because they're too quiet. No one listens. They feel deeply misunderstood and they rarely try to explain themselves. And as a result, they are misunderstood because they don't even understand that others are making assumptions about them. They're often riddled with self-doubt. They never trust themselves, their own insight, their own knowing, their own guidance. They will get just swept up with the latest conspiracy theory that's going on, or the latest mainstream media bollocks that's out there. They'll just, they get swept up in advertising, for example. Now, they trust no one, including themselves, and they don't share their message, so they appear to be untrustworthy themselves. They often use devious, underhand tactics to get what they want, rather than just clearly saying, I need this, can you help? Can you help me get this? And they're master manipulators, but in a slightly different, less bullying and more subversive ways. So this is the underactive truthful leader. So another sign of underactive, they have no idea what their message is, and it's just the latest whatever BS that's out there. They'll just parrot it. And what I say is they do a lot of regurgitating rainbows. They're not able to express themselves. They're shy, timid, quiet, devious, unreliable, fickle. They'll say one thing to one person, something else to someone else. They've often got tight throat, knotted shoulders, and they hold back. Sometimes they have a very flat and monotonous voice, and they just say the same thing over again, and then just talk in the same tone like this, and it's very hard to understand what they're saying. They sometimes have difficulty communicating. They find it hard to relax. They often experience conflict, particularly if they've had a religious upbringing. They're weak-willed, weak communicators, and unreliable. This underactive truthful leader will often resort to emotional blackmail, and they have a loud inner critic, and they hear this unhelpful voice that is giving them a hard time inside their head. This person is most likely to say nothing at all, and anything they do say will make no sense. So that is the truthful leader power center, and I'm going to be workshopping how you can identify what's present for you, where your strengths are, and how you can activate all of your power centers, so that, because this is the thing with the truthful leadership power center being active at the level of society right now. What that means is this is perfect for the next one to open, which is our visionary leadership, which is also the third eye at the level of society. So we're right at our spiritual tipping point, where true spiritual messengers are so important. Oh, thank you. Somebody said great description of leaders, where this wisdom comes from. This is my model that I created. This is what I create. And I'm going to share more of this on this masterclass, and I will drop the link in the comments below so that you guys can see it. In fact, I may even be able to find it right now. I will try and find this, and I do. I think I have it. Let me see. This should work. I hope this works. Let me know if you can see that. And if you guys can see that, and I will show that on the screen. So you should be able to go and head over there. It's not a very pretty URL. I apologize for that, but anyway, it is what it is. It works, right? So go and use that, click on that, and click in the link in the comments, and go and sign up. It's a completely free masterclass. We're going to get together. We're going to explore the spiritual tipping point of society and of us as individuals, so that we can all become leaders in our own lives. Because the thing is, you are leading whether you know it or not. The question is, are you leading yourself and others to where you believe is for the highest good, or what is for the highest good of all, and what you believe is right for you? Or are you leading people in a way that's not necessarily going to serve them or yourself or anyone? So join me on that masterclass. We're going to explore things like how to step into your leadership, how to take advantage of some of the amazing opportunities that the current chaos is presenting, and how to avoid being swept away in the next wave of change that comes. We're going to explore the post-pandemic paradigm. This is how we move beyond fear into hope and joy. When things seem hopeless and desperate, as I always say, like when things seem that bad, you've got to laugh. And this is where we show you how you can. Also going to explore some of the hot trends that are happening right now in the coaching industry, and the world, and how you can ride this in a way that creates huge value for yourself and others. And some of the nature of the spiritual shifts that are going on, how we're ascending into this next level. This really is a great awakening. And what a lot of people are calling the Great Awakening actually a little bit of a, not necessarily something that's as helpful. And I will tell you more about that on our call. Click on the link, register for that. I will see you on Thursday at 2 o'clock. I'll also see you tomorrow for our next Facebook Live. Tomorrow, we're going to look at the Visionary Leader Power Center. So till then, let me know if you like this. If you liked this, click the likey button. If you loved it, click the lovey button. If you think someone else would benefit from this, share it or tag them in the comments. And I will see you on Thursday. Till then, huge, huge love. Bye for now.